Hello, everyone. Hello, welcome to another weekly episode of WAG of the Tale. I am Randy Lyman, the Pet Uncle, and you are watching here on the PetScope TV. The PetScope TV is Periscope's, or I should say live streaming's first network that is devoted live streaming network that's devoted only to pets and animals. You can find out information about our all of our shows and all the broadcasters at ThePetScopeTV.com. There's, I think, 6 broadcasters now, and we've just added a couple more. So there's somebody on every single day of the week, pretty much, on the PetScope TV. You can get the full schedule and actually subscribe to the calendar at ThePetScopeTV.com, and then you watch every day here on Facebook at the PetScope. So I am Randy Lyman, the Pet Uncle. This is my show called WAG of the Tale, and you can find all of the past episodes and current episodes on my YouTube channel at WagOfTheTale.live, and then you can follow me live on Twitter and Periscope at the Pet Uncle. So today we are going to take in a little break from my season 2 theme, which is Home Sweet Home, where animals live. We've been taking a look at a lot of places that animals live, everywhere from zoos to our own living rooms. But this week, we're going to take a little break from that, and we're going to talk about collective animal names. I adapted this show from a trivia night quiz that I did a couple months ago in the Pet Lovers Tribe, which started on Periscope. Every Sunday night on Periscope, we have a little trivia game. The Pet Lovers Tribe founder, Therese Copawoda, was hosting the trivia nights for a long time. But more recently, other people have been doing it. And so every week, there's a different host who's coming up with a whole list of questions. And then those of us watching on Periscope, you try to be the first to type in the answer. You get points. And the winner each night goes on Periscope Live, and we just tap the screen, and you get a gazillion hearts as the official prize. So that's every Sunday night at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time and 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, and then of course, in between for Mountain and Central time. It's on Periscope. You can always, if you join the Pet Lovers Tribe on Facebook, that's / Pet Lovers Tribe, and it's just a group, and it's open to join for anyone who loves animals or loves pets. Join the group, and there will always be a posting every Sunday announcing the trivia night and announcing who's hosting and who you should follow and how to go about it. So follow the Pet Lovers Tribe on Facebook. That's how you find out. Join us. It's been a real growing community since started just about a year ago, and I've been in the Pet Lovers Tribe since about October. So it's a lot of fun. It's a great group of people. We have a wonderful time. We're becoming friends. We've gotten to meet each other in person in various places. We have daily scoping challenges, and then on Sunday nights we have our trivia night. And so I did one on collective animal names, because we tend to, we know. You've probably heard of quite a lot of the common ones, a flock of birds, a school of fish, a pack of dogs, and so on. But some collective names for animals are really, some are quite amazing. They're quite unusual. They're quite unexpected. They're just not what you would think at all. And they're just sort of a fascinating thing in their own right. So I thought I would bring my trivia night to a different audience here on Facebook. So you can see for yourselves. And I'm not going to play this like a trivia quiz because Facebook doesn't lend itself as well to that. But who knows? Maybe I'll do this again on Periscope. Certainly, someone else will come up with some good trivia nights too. So collective animal names. I've just come to really love some of these names. Like I said, many of them are common, and some are unusual. Some are very poetic. Some sound like what the animals themselves are, or some characteristic of the animal, so they're really fitting. And then some are just completely from left field. So perhaps the most common name of all is one that applies to, at least 24 species of animals that I've found, including antelope, zebras, kangaroos, swans, deer, all kinds of animals, mostly land animals, it turns out, and you will find those in a herd. So you can say, a herd of zebra, a herd of buffalo, of goats, a herd of horses. Kangaroos come in herds as well. Another common name, and this tends to fit a lot of, or at least apply to a handful of aquatic groups or aquatic animals like dolphins and seals and whales. And of course, some of those are mammals as well. We have a bird in there. But they're all aquatic, and aquatic animals, these groups, you will all find the collective name is a pod. So you would have a pod of whales, a pod of dolphins, a pod of pelicans. And then, not to be outdone, and certainly they never will be, the birds have their own name that applies to several species of birds. A finch, hummingbirds, magpies are referred to as a charm of hummingbirds or a charm of magpies. So that's those are like three maybe of the most sort of commonly applied names that you will find that apply to many types of species. Everything else is going to be completely unique. Now, I mentioned dogs earlier. Dogs come in a pack, but what do you call a group of cats? Well, cats are solitary animals, so you don't often see them in groups, but sometimes you do, especially feral cats or stray cats, or the cats they just like to just sit around and just hang out. A group of cats is not called a herd, although herding cats, of course, is a popular expression. But cats come in what is a clouder, or the more fitting name, a pounce. A pounce of cats is what you are looking at right here. And for those of you, just because I know you're wondering about it, in fact, monkeys do come in a barrel. A barrel of monkeys is the proper term for it. You can also say a troop of monkeys, a carload of monkeys, a tribe of monkeys, but who doesn't want to say a barrel of monkeys? Because as we all know, a barrel of monkeys is the most fun. Now, some of my favorite animal names are ones that sort of sound like the animals themselves, or some sound or something, some characteristic that they make. And in poetry, this effect is called onomatopoeia. It's when a word sounds like what it means, like sizzle or thump or whisper or anything. And so these animal names sound like something that has to do with the animals. For example, porcupines. A group of porcupines is a prickle of porcupines. How fitting. Along those same lines, a wake of buzzards. That's one of my favorites. A wake of buzzards. And this is buzzards. Vultures, even though arguably there's kind of some crossover, they're not different. Different word for vultures. You would say a venue of vultures, V-E-N-U-E. Or if they're circling like this, a kettle. That's a fine kettle of fish, although that's a different expression. But a kettle of vultures, but a wake of buzzards, because they're circling something that's dead or dying. It's the perfect name. Also, a bloat of hippos. Because they just are one of the most bloated looking animals there is. A bloat of hippos floating in the water there. Also, an ostentation of peacocks, because ostentatious is one word that you could certainly use to describe the peacock's most amazing feathers. And so a group of peacocks is called an ostentation. A screech of gulls, because that sure is what they sound like. If you've ever been to the beach or anywhere near water and you've seen gulls like this, screech is the word that you would think of to describe what they are. Now, another really interesting group of collective animal names is several types of animals. The group names sound like they've all come together for some real purpose or to do something. It sounds like a real meeting of the animal minds, as it were. Like squids, for example. Squids come in an audience, and indeed with those big eyes that always just seem to be pointing right at you, an audience is an audience of squids. Well, that's what you have right here. A congregation of alligators. Congregation of alligators. Crocodiles come in a basque, a B-A-S-K, a basque of crocodiles, but a congregation of alligators. A convocation of eagles. It sounds like they're coming together for a conference or to discuss some important purpose, but they can't be nearly as important as the parliament of owls, because this parliament, they're clearly going to be passing laws of some sort. And another great one, a coalition of cheetahs. Big cats and most cats tend to be lone hunters, but cheetahs, in fact, form coalitions with other cheetahs for purposes of hunting, where some of them will be the decoys or lure the prey out one way while the others pounce from the other direction. They really put together really coordinated attacks, and so a coalition of cheetahs is about one of the most fitting names that we will have here today. Others, this is sort of like the onomatopoeia names. If the name fits, some names seem perfectly suited to the animals themselves. Like, for example, a group of giraffes is a tower of giraffes, because that hardly needs explanation. A tower of giraffes. A pandemonium of parrots. That just sounds great, as well as really describes what it's like when you are amongst a whole group of parrots. A pandemonium. And we know that elephants never forget, and that's why a group of elephants is actually called a memory of elephants. Elephants are very social creatures that have amazing powers of observation and amazing memories. They really do not forget things. And so a group of them is called a memory of elephants. You've certainly or probably heard the term lounge lizard. Well, a lounge is exactly where you'll find lizards. A group of lizards hanging out together is in fact called a lounge. So how's that one for sort of reality, sort of matching the metaphor, I suppose. And some of my favorite names of all are the ones that they're poetic, or they're unusual, or just really out there. They just come from left field. You're wondering who thought of this thing? But there's just some really amazing names, like these ferrets, for example. Ferrets, a business of ferrets. Why they would be ferrets are in business is anybody's guess, but a business of ferrets is the group name. And one of the most implausible names of all is in fact an implausibility of gnus, GNU. The animal is, a group of them is called an implausibility. Why this is the case is anybody's guess, but there you have it, an implausibility of gnus. A shrewdness of apes. Presumably apes are shrewd creatures, and so their group gets to be called a shrewdness. It must have been a fan of Edgar Allan Poe, and especially his poem The Raven, which is one of my favorite poems, who came up with the names for an unkindness of ravens, or a storytelling of ravens. That is what a group of these dark birds is called, an unkindness or a storytelling. Also on the dark side, a shadow of jaguars, a shadow of jaguars. Another great name, that one of those that sounds like what the animal is, a crash of rhinos, because you can just sort of imagine that pretty easily. And then finally, one of my favorite names is an exaltation of larks. These birds, they just fly up in the air. It must have been a very uplifting experience for the person who gave them this name, but an exaltation of larks. So that is it for today's show. I will be posting the replay of this show, and along with a blog post that lists these and even more animal names up on my blog at ThePetUncle.live. That's not up here, ThePetUncle.live. But you can watch my show again next week, and all the other shows on Facebook at The Pet Scope. Get the full information at ThePetScopeTV.com. And please join us on Sunday nights at 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern Time for the Pet Lovers Tribe's weekly trivia night, which I'm not sure who this Sunday's host will be. I'm sure I will do it again, but please be sure to check out Trivia Night. You can go to Facebook, join the Facebook group at the Pet Lovers Tribe, hashtag the Pet Lovers Tribe, and hope to see you there. So that's it. I'm Randy Lyman, the Pet Uncle. You can watch all of WAG of the Tale at WagOfTheTale.live. Follow me at the Pet Uncle on Twitter and Periscope. Thank you for watching another episode, and I will see you all again next week.